And now more of the Texas Daily, only on KTXD TV.
Welcome back to the Texas Daily. Our first viewpoint tonight, we're talking about diversity in America. And Royalyn Reed is a diversity training expert here in the DFW area, and she joins us now to weigh in on this conversation. So thank you for being here. And that's correct, right, Royalyn?
That is correct.
Royalyn Reed. Well, thank you for being here. So the survey came out, and it shows that whereas most people would think we're moving forward, and in some cases we probably are, given the administration and other gains we've had in public and private life, really there's a lot more work to be done.
Yes, because if you look at it, Jeff, we have come a long ways.
Right.
But when we look at it, we still have long ways to go.
Sure.
We can look at it in different arenas, the business arena, and just different arenas in general, where there's still issues of numbers and understanding as well.
Yeah.
We know from a big picture standpoint, you can think about even the Trayvon Martin case, how the uproar that came up. That's when you can really see where we stand.
Right.
The division was clear a lot of times.
But was it about race, or was it about who was in the right and who was in the wrong? See, what bothers me is whenever there's conflict between two races, it's always racism. It has nothing to do with maybe the person is doing a bad job.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with it. All we hear now is racist, racist. He's a racist. I can disagree with who I want, and it has nothing to do with color or gender. I just don't, you know.
But some of it's institutional. And the Trayvon Martin thing, it goes back to why he was following the child to begin with. It was that kind of profiling that he was doing.
I don't think he was following the child because he was black. He was following the child because he had a hoodie on and was carrying a sack.
I totally disagree.
But you know what, ladies? This is a really good example. Look at this exchange that's happening. Usually people have one side of the fence or the other. That's how we know it's still an issue going on with it both ways, and the emotion that's drawn up. But that's what diversity is all about.
That's right.
Because we look at whatever's the first thing that that we see.
Pops
and
in
race,
your head.
ethnicity is the thing we see, and we don't a lot of times go deep enough for that.
You know, my
and different
question,
cultures
though,
see it different ways.
Well, they
Absolutely.
do. They have a different
Experiences,
approach the same issue with
exposure.
a different paradigm.
Sure.
It's like being on a different street corner and seeing the same wreck.
But you know, if you really think about it, you know, when we celebrate, 50 years with Martin Luther King and all that happened, that was 50 years ago.
Right.
You know, a lot of us were still here. And you think our parents, so that really wasn't that long ago. So when you talk about experiences, memories, exposures, we're still there. But like with your child.
Right.
And children coming up is a little different story.
It's different, and that's what I was saying during the commercial break. The example I was giving is, we have young children. So they're coming up, and they're in elementary school, and they see, for instance, our president, and he is simply President Obama. And so he's the man occupying the White House. That's our president. He's our commander-in-chief.
And they have respect for him.
They have respect for him. There's no different than the man, different person, obviously, but respecting the office no matter who's there. And so I have a hard time. I would contest the notion that we're not making progress or that we're going backwards.
And I think too is we are making progress, but if you see the numbers, now some of the comments that have been made since President Obama has taken office is some of the views are, well, blacks have arrived now. They have a black president, an African-American president. What's the problem? What else needs to be done? So even if you look at that kind of perspective as well, it still goes back to a president being African-American, which is such a big deal, not even looking at him as just another president.
But then you'll hear people
I think
50 plus who will refer to him as lazy. And that brings up different connotations.
But is that just because he's a black president? Look at what we've said about other presidents who were white.
Yeah, but some of the words that are used are historically used toward blacks in a derogatory way.
Wait a minute. I've been called lazy. When did the word lazy become a black word? My gosh, I'm 75 years old. Do you know how old we were when we started, don't be lazy,
See, there's
get
that
up,
cultural
get
difference
going.
again.
There's
that
See what
cultural
I mean?
difference
Well, we don't have a whole lot of time left. But
I want more time.
we need more time
more
for this
time,
issue.
girl.
Let me ask you this.
What is
Just
to talk about?
in closing, Rosalind, what do you, Rosalind?
Royal.
Royalyn. Doggone it, I'm so
Royal
sorry.
Lane,
I'm gonna get it. Royland. So what do you tell, in terms of your diversity coaching, what are some tips that you provide for your clients?
The main thing, first of all, is we just need to all look at ourselves as well. We have to understand that differences are just common. We all gravitate to, as you mentioned, Phyllis, our backgrounds, our experiences. They are what they are, but let's take them and keep them in the context of what they mean, and let's be real about it. The next step, too, is as we move forward, too, is just realize that with anything we have to do, we've come a long ways, but we want to continue on. That's continuous improvement, and that's the kind of thing you touch on, Susie, in the way you think. So it's a process we need to continue to go on. A lot of people say, is there still a problem? Well, I would say it is, because if it were not a problem, we wouldn't be talking about it.
But isn't it always going to be the way? Look at all the races of people in the world.
Oh, we're going to die. Old folks are going to die.
All right. Well, we'll continue this conversation very soon because it deserves a lot more attention.